All right, Friday means it's shoulder day, but it's not just shoulder day. Unfortunately, today is the last workout in this series. Womp, womp, womp. It's been fun, but all good things must come to an end. So, with that said, we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to be doing some band stuff today, still nursing some injuries, so bands are always my go-to for continuing to train, even when I'm not feeling so great. We are going to do things a little bit different today. Most of the time when I'm doing band content, I really try my best to do most exercises that only require one set of bands. The downside to that, it means it's unilateral. You're just doing one side at a time. It's effective, it's just not super time efficient because everything literally takes twice as long. You gotta do the left side, then you gotta do the right side. So I'm gonna show you how I typically like to train, which requires two sets of bands using equal resistance. So I've got two sets here. They look the same at first until you flip them over. These are both Undersun bands. This is the red and black TA2 limited edition series. This is the Elite series with the OD green. So they look different, but they are the exact same resistance level, and that's what's most important. So I slipped on these. These are some generic fat grips. They are nice for handles. You don't need them though, just more of a convenience thing. Now, we're gonna start off with a shoulder press. Normally, I would just do these as a single, but the nice thing about having two bands is now we can do doubles. So I'm going to start off light here. Nice controlled rep speed. Knock out 20 reps. This feels a little easy, but we'll see how I feel at 20. I can always slow it down a little bit just to up the intensity. And it's also a good opportunity to really focus on that mind-muscle connection. So for shoulder press, what that means to me is instead of just thinking about pressing my hands over my head, I put my focus on my elbows, thinking about lifting the elbows and lowering the elbows. And then hands and forearms are just going along for the ride. And what this does for me is puts more attention on the delt, and I focus less on using the triceps to press. And so that is one easy way to noticeably kick up the intensity or the focus on the delts. This is a compound movement, so it means you are going to be recruiting triceps no matter what, but we can minimize it a bit with good mind-muscle connection. And all that really means is focus. Focusing on the muscle that you're trying to work. Oh man, these are burning. I lost track of how many, but they're on fire. Oh, perfect. Nice. So I might keep these to finish off. Actually, we're going to do, just for fun, anyone who's followed my old content will recognize the 20, 10, 10, 15 rep structure. So the concept with that is first set 20 reps. It's not a warm-up set. It's so you can focus on good technique, be super disciplined, really get that good mind-muscle connection, feel that burn, and then increase the resistance level to 10 while maintaining that same kind of discipline and that same kind of feel. And that's the check. Like if you go up in resistance, just because you can do it doesn't mean it's the right resistance level. You want to be able to do it where it's challenging to get to 10, but challenging with good technique. So I'm going to go up a band. Same concept. I think out of all muscle groups, my favorite to train with bands probably is shoulders. One, I feel a crazy burn, crazy pump, but shoulders are also that muscle group that So easy to injure. There's nothing more frustrating than a nagging shoulder pain because it ends up affecting pretty much all your upper body lifts. It can affect even doing biceps curls. It can affect triceps. Of course, any of your back movements, your pulling movements, pressing movements, shoulders, chest. So try not to beat the shoulders up. All right. Same. Now you can adjust your foot position, go a little wider if you want to. Changes the angle just a bit, which I like. Try it. Try going narrower. You'll feel the difference if you go from a narrow stance pushing out versus a wider stance pushing in. And that's one of the cool things is you can vary the feel of the exercise slightly. Again, putting that focus on the elbows, not the hands. And I'll show you at the end of this set something that I think might make some sense. So there's 6. 7. 8. So that's 8. That's hitting the wall using that disciplined form. But now watch. I can easily crank out a couple more by putting the focus on the hands and using a bit more triceps. So first 8 reps, I was intentionally trying not to do that. And that's what I mean. There's a difference between being able to do a movement and feeling strong versus doing the movement and feeling the targeted muscle that you're trying to work. So that was pretty good. But for the sake of time, efficiency, and the fact that my body is honestly begging for a rest, I'm not going to do 4 sets. I'm going to do 3, so I'm going to do the 1 set of 10, and now I'm going to go back to the original resistance and get somewhere between 15 to 20 reps. If I were to do 2 sets of 10 and come back, I'd only be able to get 15 max, just because I'd be pretty fatigued at that point. Make sure you're stretching in between your sets. Oh. Sorry, I gotta straighten this picture. It's bugging me out. OCD was kicking. All right. Last set of these. So nice controlled concentric push, a little isometric squeeze, and a nice controlled eccentric. Oh yeah. Man, I'm on fire. Yeah. Nice. Whew. Those will definitely smoke your shoulders. All right, so that's our compound movement. That's our press. Now the way we're doing it here is mostly anterior delt, front of the shoulder. Whether you're doing military press with a bar, dumbbell press, bands, doesn't matter. If we're pressing straight up like this, that's probably 60-70% anterior delt. Now I have done some videos here recently where we change the angle of our resistance in a different plane where it's more at a 45-degree angle and standing out from our anchor point. That you can change where you're targeting the muscle a little bit, hit a little bit more middle delt, rear delt. But a traditional shoulder press, mostly front of the shoulders. So I'm going to set these aside. We're going to work middle delt now. So that's going to be our side raise, also known as a lateral raise. So same thing. We're going to do both arms at the same time. I'll show you what it looks like single. So if you don't have two sets of bands, no worries. So the way I've always done it, prefer to do it, anchoring under one foot, stepping on the other side, and grabbing with the opposite. So it's going to be a little crisscross here. First thing I do, get under both feet. Now I can step, all right? Wait a second. Almost forgot how I did it for a second. There we go. You can't quite do the step with the second one. This is like Jenga. All right, so now we got nice tension here at the bottom, and that's my whole reason for stepping on it in the first place. I could do it without doing it, but the band would be pretty slack here at the beginning of the range of motion. I wouldn't have a lot of resistance. So that's number one. Number two, I like this angle right here because that really gives me nice resistance all the way through as opposed to doing it on the same foot. So starting right here, come right up to the sides. After this set, I'm going to show you another way you could do this. And then I'll show you why I don't always like doing it. I was thinking, I said Jenga, I think, but what I was thinking is, remember the game Twister? Like you had to put your hands, your feet on the colored dots. Ah, nice. So the alternative is using a lighter band, and you have to use a lighter band typically because you're going to stretch it more. And remember, the more you stretch a band, the more resistance you create. So it's simply doing this. So we could do them with a single band. Why do I not like doing this? Well, because this small band is the one that I would have to use, and you end up stretching it so much. Honestly, that makes me a little uncomfortable. I feel like you're pushing that little band beyond its limits. It's a little bit of abuse to it. So that's why I traditionally don't do it. I like to go with a little bit heavier band, not stretch it quite as much, and then that way you're going to get better life expectancy out of your bands. Now, bands will last you a long time if you take care of them. They will take a lot of abuse, but they just won't last. Now let me grab a drink of water. We'll do set 2. Now, could use those. I find it's just one more thing to manage. We're already, doing like a little crisscross thing with our feet. Complicated enough. Trying to add one more thing to it. I mean, you can. It's up to you. I find it to be a little bit cumbersome. All right. We'll see if we can do this a little smoother this time, where I don't make it look so complicated. Because it's really not. All right, so we step on the first one, second one, drop right under. And if you want to adjust your resistance level, that's going to come from widening your foot position. That's going to make it harder. If you go narrower, it's going to give you a little bit more slack, make it a little easier. Two more. One more. So let me show you what I was talking about. If I just step on them without doing the little crisscross, and I come across here, see how much slack I have here? There's just not enough tension at the beginning of the range of motion. Alrighty. One more set. And then we will have crossed off middle delt. And then we'll turn our attention to rear delts. That's funny. Just putting them side by side. And for a second, it looked like the green one was wider than the red one until I stacked them on top of each other, and they're identical. It's just an optical illusion because of the color. A fun and useless fact. All right. Here we go. We don't even have to step. Just lift the toe. And there we go. Last set. I know you guys are going to miss me. Because I'm just so fucking funny. Four more. Two more. Nice. All right, I'm going to keep probably the same band. We'll grab one of each here. We only need one for this exercise. Probably one of my still all-time favorites, just because not only is it really effective for rear delts, but I find that it helps you zero in on that mind-muscle connection for rear delts, which can be more challenging than a lot of people think. It's really easy to do any kind of rear fly or a pull apart and not really feel those rear delts burning the same way that you would maybe on a lateral raise. And the reason is it's so easy for the bigger muscles in our back, especially our trapezius, to kick in and start kind of dominating the movement. And so using bands is a great opportunity to learn that focus or that discipline with your technique to really zero in. And I've shown this quite a few times, but we'll do it one more time for our first set here. And that's simply coming up against a wall, leaning against it. And this is more of a tactile thing, so you can feel your shoulder blades against the wall. And what we don't want to feel is our shoulder blades squeezing together. In other words, if I face you, we don't want this right here. That means you're using a lot of traps. So we want to try to stabilize our scapula. And so you want to feel that kind of stationary, your shoulder blades stationary against one spot on the wall. And then what we want to focus on is not pulling our hands backwards. We want to think about just going out towards the side, and we don't have to exaggerate the range of motion. I don't even have to hit the wall. And come close to it, and that's probably going to be about max range of motion with the rear delts before the traps start to take over, where the scapula has to start to move in order for us to get our arm further back. So about shoulder width apart, right out in front of us, nose height, pulling straight out to the sides. With bands, it's easy because as soon as that band touches your nose, you know that's far enough. So that's 10. Now, if I were to go ahead and use traps, I could do this all day now, because now I'm using a lot bigger, stronger muscles. So try it. Try doing it with that same kind of discipline technique. Feel that point where those rear delts, start to hit the wall. Then try doing a couple more using those bigger, stronger muscles in the back, and you'll realize that it's easy to let those muscles dominate the exercise like I was talking about. That's probably your biggest difference, in my opinion, between what I would call more bodybuilding style training, where you are trying to selectively shape certain parts of the body, target certain muscle groups for the sake of sculpting a physique, versus just strength training, right? Strength training, it doesn't matter. You're doing a bunch of compound movements. Maybe you're doing it for sport. Maybe you're doing it for powerlifting, whatever your reason is. Your whole goal is just to be stronger, a bigger, stronger version of your same self. Bodybuilding is trying to shape yourself a certain way. So, these techniques are more bodybuilding style techniques. I also think even if you're not into shaping your physique, there is kind of like a Tai Chi, Kung Fu, Zen element to it, learning that kind of discipline and focus and being able to control your body. I think I've always appreciated that aspect of it. I guess in a weird way, it's a form of meditation. All right, not even in a weird way. It is a form of meditation. When you're in the middle of a hard set, that's where your focus is. Your focus is very singular. You're very present. You're very in the moment. If you're doing it the right way and if your intensity is where it should be, there's no room for any other thought. And so that's why it is a nice escape. And I think there is definitely that meditative element to it in a way. But instead of embracing, some sort of inner peace, you're embracing that intensity, embracing the burn, embracing that discomfort. All right, so we're going to take that same discipline that we use with our back against the wall and now try to do the same thing. So stabilize that shoulder or your shoulder blades and squeeze out to the side. That's 7, 8, 9. I'm going to turn my back to you. I want you to see relatively stable. And now I'm going to do a few more where using those muscles in the back. And hopefully you can kind of see the difference there, but you can definitely feel the difference. So at set 2, one more of these. We're going to make this workout short and sweet. And if you're wondering what's next, as far as content, not sure, to be honest with you. My relationship with YouTube goes back a long ways. Turning 50 next week. And last month was officially 15 years of doing fitness content on YouTube. So, like I said, been a long journey. I don't know. I don't even know what there is left for me to talk about with fitness. I don't think there's anything that I'm saying now that I haven't said probably 50 times before. We'll see. I'll let you guys know over the next week or two. We'll figure it out. All right, last set. Here we go. This is actually not just the last set. This is the last set of this series. We'll make it good. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yeah. There it is. So that's a wrap, man. That's a wrap. It's been fun. I don't know how many weeks this has been, but hopefully it's been helpful. Maybe you extracted something out of it, or maybe it just gave you some extra ammunition for your arsenal, different exercises, different things to try. So that's it, man. It's time to wrap this baby up. Give you the 2-finger salute.